Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
Hey, Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steven Larson, available wherever podcasts can be found. And, of course, taped live at the Twitch, twitch.tv/Steven Larson. A quick reminder before we get into today's wrestling news and Raw review. Over there at Friendo Club Wrestling, the channel we do that isn't a podcast.
Yes.
It's all the short form YouTubeable stuff. Today, just this morning, we uploaded the questions that y'all left us yesterday, including, has CM Punk ruined his legacy? And when should have Vince McMahon step down? Yeah, a couple good answers there. So about
two great questions, too.
Oh, great questions. About 15 minutes of answers. And then the day before that, this past weekend, we uploaded, of course, Larson and myself on this road to purchasing a wrestling company, the Friendo road to purchasing a wrestling company. We're trying to, but Joe DeSola is in the way.
Oh, oof.
What a weasel. What a weasel that guy is.
I was very upset with them on last Saturday.
I could tell.
Oh, wow.
Man. I could tell. It was one of those things. I felt helpless watching the video, watching the footage, knowing what you went through, and I couldn't be there to, to have your back, to have, I guess my own proxy is what's necessary with Joe DeSola.
Yeah. Like I said, though, I think even if you were there, he would have found some way to get out of it.
He would have wiggled out of it. But you can check out what happened at Action Coast Wrestling as we're trying to buy this damn company from Joe DeSola. He's not making it easy for us.
No.
Crazy Joe DeSola. That's who he is. Absolutely. So yeah, check that out over at Friendo Club Wrestling. Just go to YouTube and put in Friendo Club TV, I think it is.
Yeah, that should be the first thing that pops up.
Yeah, so check that out. And on today's episode, like I said, we're going to be talking about WWE Raw. Man, what a fun episode last night. Didn't think I'd be saying that when the year 2022 kicked off. But here we are, man. And of course, the WWE return, the main roster debut of John
Gargano.
All right, it's out of the system. John.
Oh, that won't be the last time. We got some backstage details on what led John to come back to WWE. So, once Triple H assumed control of WWE Creative, that was pretty likely. I wouldn't say a shoe-in. I wouldn't say 100%, but pretty darn likely.
I'd have said 1,000%, man. Are you kidding me? Get out of here.
That Johnny Gargano would eventually return to WWE. We just didn't know when. Well, it turns out last night's Raw was the when. And Fightful Select has some details on Gargano coming back to WWE. Fightful is reporting that WWE went to great lengths to keep Gargano's return top secret. His name didn't appear on any of the show's rundowns, and most found out about Gargano's return a few minutes before it happened. When he was walking around backstage, PW Insider adds that, quote, the talk after the show was that Gargano was flown in by WWE on their corporate jet into Canada so that he wouldn't be spotted by fans. PW Insider also notes that, quote, there were also a lot of people inside the company who noted that Gargano was brought back and didn't have a name change. A sign, the old Vince McMahon edict that real names and previous independent wrestling ring names were forbidden is gone. One last detail here from Fightful. They also add that they hadn't heard of, quote, advanced negotiations between AEW and Gargano, though there were several within AEW that were, quote, pushing.
Oh, man, any company be lucky to have Gargano,
Oh, heck yeah.
And, lucky for fans of WWE that want to see Gargano mix it up with, as we saw last night, Theory, people he's got history with on TV. Ciampa, of course, on a hell of a run with The Miz right now. And just a batch of fresh matchups. Lucky for us, he landed back into lucky for us, Vince McMahon stepped down. And Triple H is bringing in all his favorites. He's referencing what has happened during his time with the pencil over there at NXT. And it's pretty great. I mean, I'm not surprised, obviously, that he had proponents in AEW as well, because any wrestling company would be lucky. This was, look, you and I both love Impact and what they're doing.
Oh,
right
absolutely,
now.
absolutely,
love it. It did kind of make me chuckle though, because this always pops up whenever somebody shows up in another company.
Yeah.
And they're a big enough name. There's always the caveat. There's always thing in there. Impact was never a serious consideration.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Hey, there's a lot of dream matches there for John in Impact.
That's true.
But
imagine John versus Mike Bailey. Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh. John versus Chris Bay. John versus
Trey Miguel.
Josh Alexander. Oh my God.
Taurus.
He might have had matches with some of these people before.
Yeah,
NXT.
he probably did.
Probably did.
It's entirely possible.
But yeah, no, that's all very interesting stuff. And we got this question the other day here on the show. I forget who asked it. One of the friendos asked it. They said basically, are the days of surprises over? And you know what? It goes to show that if a company really, really wants to make something a surprise, just like with CM Punk's return a couple weeks ago, they were able to hide that. They were able to make sure that was a proper surprise. Just like Gargano last night, they went through the lengths to make sure he wasn't on that rundown that Fightful Select always seems to have. And they brought him in via private jet, maybe gave him a ski mask.
Could be.
Perhaps.
Well, for sure a hoodie. They always have people with the hoodies.
A hoodie.
On
and then
when
maybe
they're
he was
walking
wearing,
around backstage.
Maybe he had on, you know what I really want to get? One of those LED masks.
Oh,
and
yeah,
then
yeah,
maybe,
yeah.
Like he put like the Miz's face on it, like it was like a PNG of the Miz's.
Maybe he was disguised as early morning. What's his name?
Early morning. George Steele.
Yes, early morning George Steele. And everybody's like, "Wow, George Steele is coming to WWE."
The latex mask.
Yeah, took the latex mask off, revealed it's John Gargano, not early morning George Steele.
Yeah, he was Drive Man from Drive. Yeah,
it's not George Steele, is it? What is it?
What is it? It's not George Steele.
Something Steele.
Something Steele. Anyways, so yeah, look, if they want to make
Guy Steele.
Yeah, it's much better. That's much better.
Like George Steele, that's George the Animal Steele.
Well, this is wrestling. So yeah, if you want a surprise, if you want to make a surprise, you can get there. You just have to put a little bit of effort into it.
Yep. Yep. Exactly.
Also, shout out to Macho T, our friend, who was the last Twitch channel rated by Johnny Gargano before his WWE return.
Oh wow, that's super cool.
A little bit of trivia there. We've been rated by Johnny Wrestling before.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah. Anyways, let's talk about this. Bruce Pritchard came back to Something to Wrestle after a hiatus, and he had a lot to talk about. He usually does not talk about current day WWE, what's going on, for obvious reasons. But now that Vince McMahon's gone, apparently he can say as much as he wants. This is great. I mean, look, Triple H is letting people stay on Twitch.
I know.
And
imagine that, someone taking over it for Vince and like being with the times, not being out of touch.
Here's the
understanding that Twitch helps build these brands for these wrestlers, and therefore builds brands for WWE.
So here's the thing, though. Oh man, Dan just rated us. Nerd
Speaking
Cube just
of
rated
rage.
us. What's up, Dan? Thank you so much.
Hi, Dan.
We're talking about the Triple H era and how people are allowed to say stuff now. So Bruce Pritchard now apparently, because here's the thing. I wonder if we're gonna get, if he's gonna be spilling some beans on,
That'd be cool.
maybe
On
not what
recent
happened
stuff.
2 months ago, but maybe a couple of years ago.
Yeah, maybe.
Without maybe disparaging Vince McMahon. But he said this. He had this to say about his time recently in WWE. He says, let's call it exciting. It's exciting times. It's a time in life to which people take, he gets really philosophical here. He says, people take life for granted sometimes and take things happening around you for granted. And it's all how you look at life. You can either love life, live life, or you can hate life and just exist. He says, there were times in my life when I chose the latter, to hate life and just exist. But I choose the former. I'd rather live life and enjoy it because life is a journey, not a destination. He said this about his involvement in NXT, because back when NXT 2.0 started, there were some rumors that kicked up that it was him and Shawn Michaels writing the show. And he said, I do have to say, because it's something people even internally have come to me with and made comments about, that I was writing NXT. I never said a word. You know what else I never did? I never wrote one NXT show in the history of my existence. I'm a fan of NXT. I love NXT. Shawn Michaels recently came out and talked about how it's been me since day one. Sean has done me, meaning Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
Sean
Not Bruce Pritchard.
Sean has done a tremendous job of grabbing NXT by the horns and doing what he's done. I love Shawn Michaels to death. The fact that Sean finally came out and said, "What are you guys talking about?" to those pundits out there, the dirt sheet writers who reported as fact, not, hey, rumors are, no, they reported as fact that I had been involved in NXT. The fact of the matter is, they're 100% just fabricated lies. From where? I don't know. Now that they've heard it from two different sources who are actually there and would actually know, they should probably consider their sources or just stop making things up. I just found it so funny when, in an interview with so many different things going on, Sean said, "I'm going to comment on that just because so many people were dying on that soapbox and wanted to have my head. Those that wanted my head are going to want my head. Have at it. I love what I do. I love where I'm at, what I'm doing, with whom I do it with. Get over it. It's not all about what you think you perceive. Reality is reality, and perception can be reality too. But when your reality is based on the perception that you have no idea of what you have no idea about, it's just wrong." He loves one thing about Something to Wrestle, especially like since he came back to WWE, he's a lot grumpier because he's a lot more tired. And so he just, anytime, any hint of a mention of Dave Meltzer,
he goes off.
He goes off. Bruce doesn't like that.
He goes off. Well, maybe now, Triple H recently, after taking over, talked about the importance of sleep in an interview. So maybe
I love sleep.
I love sleep too. Seems like Triple H, he appreciates sleep as well. And hopefully that's going to be to the benefit of everybody who works at WB Creative, because the word going around for the longest time was you get a call at 2 a.m. to go over a creative pitch with old Vince.
Yeah.
Hopefully those days are gone.
Well,
and you go to bed at 11 in the evening, you can get a good night's sleep, get up at 7 or 8, head into the office. I
know Pritchard is like the executive director of Raw and SmackDown. I don't know if he has any other titles, but it really did seem like, and this sort of speaks to the culture there at WWE, it's like Vince knew like 3 guys. It was like Bruce, John Laurinaitis, and Kevin Dunn. And so regardless of what Pritchard's actual job title was or what his duties were, he was doing a lot more than that. When you have to be the guy who's basically interpreting for Vince McMahon, being the liaison, being the guy who's like the middle guy between that seems like it's a whole other task unto itself.
Yeah.
And so you got to figure that, with things having changed the way they have, like you said, Triple H understanding the benefits of sleep, it probably means that people are going to have their roles and they're going to be defined and they're going to stick to those roles, and he's not going to be required to live the WWE life 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, like they did under Vince. I suspect that even though it's probably still going to be a fast paced, hectic environment, to quote, Indeed job ads, who wants to work in a fast-paced environment? I want to work in a really slow-paced environment, to be honest with you.
Honestly, I do. I want the day to seem like it's my work day is not 8 hours, but in fact 18 hours.
Right, exactly.
That's the kind of job I want.
Well, I want a job where I can just sort of, the great thing about this job is that I can just sit here, I talk to my best friend for an hour, and then I just go kick off and do whatever I want. It's kind of great.
Yeah. Wednesday mornings, we work by playing basketball.
Exactly, yeah.
Let's take a quick break here. Get a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. So, Steve. I'm a shoe guy, yeah?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You love your shoes.
Yeah. So let me ask you, how well do you think I'd take care of my shoes if I had to keep the same one pair of shoes, for the rest of my life?
Oh, man, for the rest of your entire life?
Yeah.
Stands to reason you take pretty darn good care of them, man.
Yeah, of course I would. I get one pair of shoes the rest of my life. I'd take really good care of them. Of course I would. Yet, we only get one brain, and a lot of us don't treat it with that same level of care. You see here, how we care for our brains and minds can affect how we experience life.
That's true, man. And there are plenty of ways you can support your brain health. You could learn a new language. You could take lots of power naps like I do. I love my naps. Or you could try BetterHelp online therapy.
There was a period in my life where I was dealing with severe anxiety, and rather than treat my mental health like the old beat-up pair of shoes I wear for yard work, I looked for some help. Having gone through the process of trying to find a therapist, I know how difficult it can be to find the right person to talk to. But BetterHelp Online Therapy makes that process much more convenient by offering video, phone, and even live chat therapy sessions.
BetterHelp can get you matched up with a therapist in less than 48 hours, and it's much more affordable than in-person therapy. And right now, Going In Raw listeners can get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/raw. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/raw. Let's talk about Raw last night, man.
Yeah.
We had the return of Johnny Gargano.
We had that.
Fantastic main event between Edge and Damian Priest.
Mm-hmm. We did. We got some movement in this Dexter Lumis story.
Kidnapped the guy, yeah.
Yeah, as far as who he is actually targeting.
Targeted.
Or at least we think who he's actually targeting. Yeah, all told, it was a solid episode of Raw. Again, you put the focus on the wrestlers and what they can do in ring and let them put on good matches, and the show benefits from it.
Yeah, I thought I think the matches these days are just stellar. I noticed one thing, and somebody on Twitter pointed this out as well, and I don't know if I still have it up on my little Twitter app here. I had it, and I think I lost it, but somebody on Twitter, I'll try to find whoever mentioned this, but it's a small thing, but like when I realized that, you know, two of the best wrestlers over the past 5 years in WWE, Asuka and Io Sky, got in the ring together, hardly any interaction. They circled each other. Io tagged out. Asuka was calling her out as a chicken, and I wonder if they're saving that for a feud down the road before they really get to lock up, and that's exciting.
I would think so. Yeah, because they did kind of circle each other a couple times, and then Io ultimately ended up rolling up Asuka to get the win, but it was a distraction finish. So, yeah, I would imagine that's probably the deal, is that they're going to set up a feud between the two of them, and that's going to be awesome.
Well, that's great, because like there's so many, like nowadays, there's so many little things that you can pick out of all this stuff and say, oh, are these actual seeds being planted? Because in the old way of doing things, WWE just didn't do that. You'd have to sort of piece it together yourself. Like either you could tell the wrestlers are maybe setting it up, or just by virtue of like, you know, the wrestlers wrestling so much, eventually certain patterns are going to evolve. And you can look back in history and be like, oh, look at this story they've been telling, where in fact these days it feels like, hey, they're actually planting some seeds for some real stories going forward.
Yeah, definitely. We had Trish Stratus make a return to WWE. I think it's the first time she's been back since her SummerSlam match against Charlotte a couple years back.
I believe so, yeah.
Go ahead.
So,
again, planting seeds for something down the line. I don't know if Trish is planning to have another match, but it seems like they're planting seeds for her to have a match against Bayley.
That shit's happening. That shit is so happening.
Yeah.
And I think it's great. And dude, one thing that's going to be very interesting. I know Mickie James recently said that she's probably had her last match. I suspect that somebody will be able to get Mickie James back in the ring, but I do kind of wonder, with Trish coming back, with Lita having wrestled a match relatively recently. I have no idea if this would be on the plan, but the way Triple H seems to have his focus on women's wrestling as a vital part of their programming.
Yes.
It wouldn't shock me to see him treat veterans of the women's division perhaps the same way traditionally the men have been treated as well, meaning Trish Stratus, you get, what's the one trope in wrestling that we always point at? The older you
get stronger.
You get stronger. And I would love to see him bring back, maybe for like a Ronda Rousey type contract, Trish Stratus, Lita, Mickie James. I think that kind of stuff could be very exciting and just be beneficial for the company in total, because you're bringing back those names that are so loved from the past that still have a lot to offer. It's just Vince was in charge, so you know his goal basically was to humiliate them, and now they might get treated with the way they should be treated, the same way as the guys. And you've got that name recognition coming back. You got some veterans now, with mixing it up with the younger kids. I mean, that kind of stuff could totally happen. He's bringing Kurt Angle, but I don't expect Kurt Angle to wrestle, but he's bringing Kurt Angle next week again, using the legends from the past. It's going to be interesting just to see if there's going to be a major difference between how Vince treated the legends, which generally was dog shit, and now Triple H treating the legends,
which hopefully will not dog shit. Treat them well.
Not dog shit.
Not dog shit.
Good.
Treat him well. Treat
yeah.
him on the level that Vince was treating Goldberg,
Yeah.
Undertaker,
Yeah.
Brock,
Right.
et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. Yeah.
You want to jump into it?
Yeah, let's hop right into it.
Let's jump into it. Yeah, the show opened up. Triple H loves his pull-aparts. We know that. He loves his pull-apart brawls.
He loves
I think it's
brawls.
the second time in, 5 weeks or something like that since he's taken over on Raw. The show's opened with a pull-apart.
Yeah.
So we go backstage, gorilla position. Riddle, Seth, they're mid-brawl already. Producers are in trying to break it up. Brawl spills out to the arena. They go up into the crowd, up into the stands, and make the way back ringside. Eventually, Riddle jumps off the barricade, takes out Seth and a bunch of producers. And it's the same, it's the same wrestling trope. Producers and refs break them apart. One of them gets free, attacks the other person. It kind of just goes back and forth. But eventually, they separate them and they take them opposite sides of the stage.
Yeah.
To get them out of the arena.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. After that, we had our Trish Stratus promo. Huge reaction, obviously, there in Toronto for Trish.
Mm-hmm.
She says it feels so good to be home. Not just talking about Toronto. She said, I'm talking about in this ring between these ropes. She says the ring will never not feel like home. I've been doing a lot of thinking lately. And then she's interrupted by Bayley. Whoa, hold on a second, Trish. I want to know what you're thinking about. You thinking Triple H is back? You're thinking a return? Is that what you're thinking? What are you thinking? No. Bayley, I guess Damage Control is the name of the group, but I don't think have they officially called themselves
I
that?
don't believe they've officially said that.
I don't think so. Anyways, Bayley, Io, and Dakota come out. They come to the ring. Raw rolls on. What do they want? We find out. Back from commercial. I just want some fries. Bayley and Io, they're like, hey, or Bayley and Io say, hey, we're big fans. Bayley says, what are you doing here? And Trish says, there's a match happening later. I'm here to support Edge. And before I was interrupted, I had something to say. And Dakota Kai says, we don't care what you have to say. Io says, I don't like you. Bayley says, none of us like you. We're tired of Trish riding our coattails because this is our ring. You're the past. We're the now. Who do you think you are? That brings out Bianca Belair.
Yeah, she comes to the ring and says, Bayley, you're not even the same stratosphere. Get it?
Because of the Stratus, yeah.
Stratus, yeah. She says, Trish walked so that we could all run. So what Bayley should be doing is thanking Trish because there'd be no Bayley without Trish Stratus. But she'll tell Bayley who Trish is. Trish is a trailblazer, a legend. And this is her city, so stop being disrespectful. Says, I don't even need to defend Trish because she can do it herself. And so Trish says, you know how quick that can go from I am retired to I was retired. If you don't stop running your mouth, Bayley. And so while she's saying that, she's taking off her jacket. Bayley takes off her jacket and says, I knew you were a little stupid, Trish, but there's 3 of us and only 2 of you. And Trish goes, oh, okay, there's myself, Bianca, that makes 2. And then Alexa Bliss, Asuka walk down the ramp. And Trish says, the future tag team champs, that makes 4. And then Bayley says, Trish is lucky that I'm feeling generous tonight. I'm going to let you slide, but we'll see Bliss and Asuka at Clash of the Castle. Mm-hmm. And Trish says, that's if you make it to Cardiff, so good luck. You're going to need it. And then the first match of the night, semifinal bout. In the women's tag team championship tournament, Alexa Bliss and Asuka taking on Dakota Kai, Io Sky. They gave this match a ton of time. I think between the opening segment and this, it was like a half hour.
Yeah, it was. I think it was like 40 minutes or something.
Yeah, it was super long.
Yeah,
it was great.
It was long. It was awesome. Like I had mentioned early in this match, you have Asuka and Io circling each other. And I'm just ringing, oh my God, this is so cool. We're going to get them. Nope, didn't give it to us. They're waiting on that. Like you said, Io got the win on the roll-up for Asuka here because Asuka didn't realize that Dakota Kai was, in fact, not the legal person. She tapped her out, but it didn't matter. Asuka thinks she wins after Kai taps out. Io rolls up Asuka, but earlier in the match, they're circling each other, and Io's like, nope, not going there. Tags in Dakota Kai, and Asuka starts giving her the old, the chicken routine there. It was good stuff.
Yeah, it was good. It was really good. After that, we had a Dolph Ziggler interview. He says, been a long time. He says, I've been doing this for a long time, and last week, Theory was a better man, but I was just trying to help him. So Finn steps in, and he says, I've heard the respect the locker room veterans spiel before. You make me sick. You're the same as Edge and Ray. They attach themselves to younger superstars, keep themselves relevant, but they try to disguise it by saying they'll teach the kids something. But Dolph, you can't teach me nothing. So then Dolph says, oh, yeah? Well, here's something I can teach you. And he punches him. Finn lands right in his ass.
Yep.
And so Dolph's music starts playing. He walks to the curtain and peeks his head back through and goes, hey, you just going to sit there like a little bitch? You're going to come to the ring.
Yeah.
And then he leaves.
He does end up going to the ring. They have a match. Dolph Ziggler versus Finn Balor. So now the Judgment Day have their own individualized themes that are darker, ominous versions of their previous themes, which is kind of an interesting thing. And Finn teases the whole, doing the big thing, and then he doesn't do it.
Well, it still begins with the
right, yeah. So it kind of is what it is. We talked about it during the pre-show a little bit. I get it, but even if you're a bad guy, I still want a theme song that geeks me out. And
referencing your face theme doesn't necessarily do that.
Well, in a way that's so doom. It's like doom and gloom. It's just I get it. I know what they're doing. But I don't know.
You know what they should have done with Finn's theme is just slowed it down by 25% and then ran it backwards.
Yeah.
That's what they should have done.
That'd probably be even worse, to be honest with you. So anyways, this is a fun enough match. At one point, I thought the finish was kind of funny because Finn kicks out of a zigzag. Finn's almost got it. He always misses a coup de grace at least once in a match. Yeah, so he misses that. Dolph hits a zigzag. Finn kicks out. They're doing there's a lot more false finishes in matches these days because Triple H knows that false finishes are great. So they're on
right into the match.
They're on the floor. They start throwing hands. Balor kicks out Dolph's leg. Dolph responds with a headbutt. The ref checks on him. Rhea gets on the apron. And as the ref is checking on Finn, Rhea gets up on the apron, and it was just, I know Dolph was just getting in position, but it's it was so obvious. It was so obvious. He was like, okay.
Yeah.
And so Rhea punches Dolph, and then Finn hits a 1916 and a coup de grace for the win.
Yeah, I noticed that too. He set up for that super kick at the same time going,
yeah.
Looking off to the side to see if Rhea's in position. Next, we got an Aaliyah interview. She's pretty much instantly interrupted by Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io. Bayley takes over interview duties here. Asks Aaliyah if she was taking notes during the tag match earlier in the night and says, well, it doesn't matter because you and Raquel aren't going to win the tag titles anyways. By the way, where is Raquel? And then Io says to Leah that she's being really brave, or either really brave or really stupid, to be on their show all alone. Then Trish steps in, says, who says Aaliyah is all alone? Asks Bayley when she's returning to action. And then Aaliyah says, hey, I'll prove it to you tonight, and I'll face you. And Bayley's like, all right, I'll see you out there. And so they leave, and as they leave, Pierce is walking past them with some security people.
And he's got what looked like it was a picture.
Like a picture.
He's talking about Dexter Lumis. I didn't get a close-up look at the picture, but he's like, all right, we got to make sure, but clearly that those two security guards were not enough to counter the kidnapping antics of Dexter Lumis.
No, he's quite a planner, that Dexter Lumis.
He is. After that, we had an Alpha Academy Open Challenge. Hey, have we seen the Street Profits? When's the last time we saw the Street Profits? We saw them after that last pay-per-view, didn't we?
Were they on the week after SummerSlam? I think they were. They were on the week after SummerSlam, but I don't think we've seen them since.
Okay. So anyways, Gable tells the crowd to shush because he has an important announcement. He says, for the first time since inception, the Alpha Academy is accepting new students, and he decided to start his search in Canada. He says, but he's regretting it because the only thing he found is toothless ex-hockey players hooked on Tim Hortons.
Oh, man, Tim Hortons is good.
I've never had Tim Hortons, but I hear good things. And given that he referenced it sounds like it's probably amazing. He says, there's no talent here in Canada. The only guy I keep hearing about is some geek named Austin Matthews. He says the only problem is that Austin is American. He didn't have the talent to wash Otis's jockstrap. But against his better judgment, I'm holding an open challenge. So Canada, send your best to see if they measure up. Kevin Owens comes out with that awesome duct tape shirt. He answers
old Tron back.
And that's right. He's got the old NXT Tron back. I know.
Mm-hmm.
And so
people here in chat mentioned that Seth has taken on Dawkins either a week or 2 weeks ago.
Okay. I think that's when Dawkins was shirtless. Because usually he wrestles with like the singlet top, but I think
yeah.
I don't know why I remember that. It was just odd.
Yeah. Then we got Chad Gable versus Kevin Owens. Hell of a match. Hell of a match. Gable was dropping Kevin Owens all over the place with German suplexes.
Oh my god!
That last one looked like it was right in his head.
Some of those were so uncomfortable. There was like 3 of them that I was like, stop doing that.
The one on the apron sucked in that last one because it was so high angle.
I know it was. Yeah.
Ow!
It looked like that's what Kevin Owens was going for, though. Like the way he was like launching himself up with it. I was like, you're trying to do this, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, this was phenomenal, though. I'm glad Kevin Owens. I know he attempted a stunner after he attempted a pop-up powerbomb, but eventually he finished the match. He got the win with a pop-up powerbomb. And I love that he's bringing that back. I think that's great as a finish.
Same.
Afterwards, Otis lays out Kevin Owens from behind, charges at him. Kevin Owens sidesteps. Otis gets posted. Owens rolls out of the ring, looks for an apron powerbomb on Gable, but Otis drops him with a clothesline. Otis gets Kevin Owens back in the ring, but he gets hit with a stunner. And then he powerbombs Gable onto Otis.
Yeah, it was good stuff.
He had a good little promo, a little backstage thing with Kevin, the interviewer, I think on Raw Talk. It's on their social. And it's just funny stuff. But he keeps on talking about, hey, it's been 5 years. He said, back when I first got to WWE, I was NXT champion, 3-time U.S. champion, 2-time Intercontinental champion, Universal champion. He says, but then it's been 5 years with nothing. What do you think that first title he's going to get's going to be, man? Because right now I feel like the field is open for guys who are going to take down Roman Reigns. I really do. And Kevin Owens is quickly getting to the top of that list.
Part of me would like to see him and Sammy beat the Usos for the tag titles. That's something Kevin Owens has said that he wants to do. I think he said it recently.
Yeah, that could be.
That would be pretty awesome. I mean, I won't complain if Kevin Owens wins the championship. I won't, because he's great. And the fact that it's been 5 years since he's held the title is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
He's one of the most talented guys on the roster, both in ring, on the mic. He can do it all. You put any title. Here's the thing about Kevin Owens. You put any title on him, he makes that title feel important.
He does. He absolutely does.
And so if you're going to put the 24/7 title on somebody and make it feel important, you put it on Kevin Owens. I'm not advocating for Kevin Owens with the 24/7 title.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if you want to make that title feel like it means something, put that belt on Kevin Owens.
Yeah. Can you imagine? Because even last night when Otis was laying into Kevin Owens, was it? Wait, was it? Yeah, it was last night. The crowd was chanting for Sammy. Kevin Owens eventually he turned it around pretty quickly. But if we get to the point where Sammy is just getting basically jumped out of the bloodline, getting beat to shit, Owens makes a save. That crowd is going to erupt.
Oh, I know.
Erupt, and it's going to be awesome.
It is going to be awesome. After that, we had a Judgment Day promo. Rhea says they run Raw, and they're going to keep beating people up until they realize it. Just ask Dolph Ziggler. And Finn goes, who? He says Rhea's been beating up Dom so much that he thinks Dom is starting to enjoy it. And he says, look here. And he opens up his jacket. You see, says, I keep Rey Mysterio right here in my pocket. He's 6'1" mine.
That was terrible. That was
bad.
That's so bad.
That was bad. So Priest says that leaves one legend to deal with. He's talking about Edge. He says, I know the cheers are going to be crazy tonight. The hero returns to Toronto, but it's going to be Edge's last one because I'm sending Edge back to retirement. All the cheers are going to turn to terrifying scream as Edge meets his Judgment Day.
I liked his delivery on this too. It's felt just a lot more natural.
It felt casual because he was leaning on Finn and Rhea's shoulders.
He was doing the shoulder leans. Yeah, he had a shirt from Gimmick 3 gimmicks ago on. He was just chill. As Edge meets his Judgment Day. It was a little bit.
It's like announcer voice.
It was a little announcery too, but I kind of just feel like that's him. Anyways, after that, commentary revealed that Gigi Dolan was hurt in that match last week. So Toxic Attraction is out of the tag title tournament. They're going to have a second chance fatal 4-way on SmackDown.
So it's Sonya, Natalya, Xia Li, and Shotzi.
Yeah.
It's not Alexa and Asuka.
Nikki and ASA. Nikki and Doudrop.
Doudrop. And then there's one other team.
Yeah. It would be, I don't know, the other team.
Who did Raquel and Aaliyah beat in the first round? Dana and Tamina. That's thank you, Dana.
Dana Brooke.
That was on the Raw the Raw side too.
Tamina. Yeah.
So then we got Aaliyah versus Bailey.
Aaliyah was crying a lot here.
Yeah.
I think it was just because she's from Toronto too. That's what the announcer said.
Yeah.
So I think it was that. She said in a backstage thing, she was like, "Yeah, I saw my brother there," and like right before that, because her family was there, and I think it was that. But like right before the bell ring, like she was tears, like she was hella crying. I was like, "Oh, get it together." She's gonna throw up again. Remember that time she threw?
Yeah.
That's an emotional person, man. That's all right.
It is. I was speaking of throw up. This is a complete tangent. I was on once I started watching or going through Instagram and paying attention to basketball videos. I get a lot of basketball videos, and then workout videos started popping up. And like sometimes I'd be watching people's workout. Anyways, this one guy was doing deadlifts, and he threw up all over himself mid deadlift. Hey, he just puts the bar down and walks away.
Oh, that's disgusting.
It's so gross.
That's nasty. Throwing up is one of those underrated comedy bits, though. It's pretty funny. Like when that dude threw up at the Kings game.
Yeah, I watched that so many times.
That was so vile. Just
it was so disgusting.
Faded, just super drunk dude at courtside, sitting by himself too. Like this guy just ponied up like $2 for a front row ticket so he can go get plastered and throw up all over the court.
I know. He's like half passed out, so he throws up all over himself, all over the court, doesn't budge, doesn't move.
That was so disgusting. Oh boy! Crazy,
so Bailey gets the win here. Finish Aaliyah lock on a half crab. Bailey gets out of it by pulling some of Aaliyah's hair, hits the rose plant to get the win.
Yep. After that, and then showed Aaliyah, she was crying again. And then she went, bleh. Oh, man. Anyways, after that, we see Lashley and AJ Styles walking backstage. We're backstage. Now we're best friends. Last week we were foes, and I was fighting Lashley for that U.S. championship. But then we bonded over our love of trampolines. He's got one in his backyard, too. He loves to do flips. And now we're a tag team. And then in the background, I didn't even notice it. Somebody was putting out a fire backstage.
There was like something on fire in the background, or at least it was smoking.
Dexter Lumis he's a nightmare. This guy's going around creating all sort of havoc here, Bobby Lashley.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, he's like those insurance commercials. He's mayhem.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
His first words be like, you can assure yourself against mayhem.
Yeah, like me. Like Dexter Lumis.
He gets the thumbs
first
up, I guess.
Words, yeah. Oh man. So then we had Miz and Ciampa versus AJ Styles and Bob Lashley.
Another fun match.
Yeah, AJ was isolated for a large chunk.
Oh man, he was
match.
getting the shit beat out of him.
He really was.
Wow, he was getting wrecked.
Yeah, and the match was sort of stopped because Dexter Lumis. So they did sort of like a red herring thing where like AJ is down by the barricade. And number one, I love Miz adopting Ciampa's little gimmicks, like when they both get off the apron.
Yeah,
that stuff. I think that's really cute. They make a really, really good team. I love Ciampa in this role. But yeah, at one point, like AJ finds himself on the outside near the barricade, and a fan tries to grab him, and security very quickly takes him away, and like his hood is removed, and it's not Dexter Lumis. Some other guy. It's probably an indie worker.
local competitor, yeah.
Exactly. But then, a little bit later on, Miz finds himself near the barricade, and a guy who's seemingly working security because he's sitting there with his back.
With the helmet on, though.
He has like a riot gear helmet on, yeah.
Yeah.
And he's got his back to the barricade. He very slowly turns around, takes off the helmet. It's Dexter Lumis. Mayhem. Mm-hmm. And so he grabs, like me, he grabs Miz by the neck, or he puts him in a choke, and he brings him over the barricade. He just walks backwards with him. Yeah. And security doesn't do shit about that.
Nope. Well, I guess the idea is that security is occupied by the other guy.
Right, exactly, yeah. And so he leaves with the Miz, and then and so the match is basically just done, but AJ and Lashley, they act like it's still going on. AJ holds up Ciampa for Lashley to give him the old spear, and that's just kind of it.
Yeah. I wonder if Miz is going to find himself in the trunk of a car.
Ideally.
Roderick Strong about that.
We need to get a segment where Maurice is going to like a private eye. My husband's been kidnapped in the police. I'm not doing anything about it.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's good.
Who plays the private eye? Who's got a private eye gimmick? How about Bray Wyatt? I could see Bray Wyatt coming back. He can have
it's full Sherlock Holmes gear.
Yeah, that works. Yeah. Or like a Magnum.
The magnifying glass.
Magnum PI thing. He's got the Hawaiian shirt like he used to back in the day.
No, John Fear and Loathing has it. It's Drew Gulak.
Oh, that's good too. Yeah. Yeah.
That's a great answer.
That's good.
Great answer. Then we got a quick Edge Damian Priest video package to hype up the main event. And then we got John Gargano coming to the ring for a promo, making his return to WWE after 9 months off. He says, hey, what a surprise, huh?
What a surprise.
It's been 9 months since I've been in this ring. I got to remember how to do this. He's talking about
Am I talking to the microphone correctly?
So do I do it this way? Says, first of all, thanks for reminding me who I am. For those who don't know, I'm John Gargano. And that was kind of a big deal in NXT. Yeah. Former champion, former three-time North American champion, tag champion, first NXT Triple Crown champ. And I won those tag titles in that very building. He says, since I've been gone, there have been some questions about where and when I'd show up again. And I had those same questions myself. He says, for a long time, I wondered if I even want to do this anymore. But I remembered one day playing with my son. And I remembered that when I was younger, I had big and possible dreams. He says, I had dreams of becoming Intercontinental Champion, U.S. Champ, and WWE Champ, wrestling at WrestleMania, and it hit me. What type of father would I be if I didn't teach my son that even the biggest, most impossible dreams can come true? If you work hard enough, you can get anything you want out of this life. And as I said when I left, you will never fail if you bet on yourself, and that is what I'm doing tonight. I'm betting on myself. And I stand here proud to say that Johnny Wrestling is back in WWE, and we're just getting started. And after he says that, he's interrupted by Austin Theory.
Yeah, and Theory comes out, and he's like beside himself. He's like, is this real? And John's like, hey, man, how's it going? And so finally Theory gets on the mic, and he says, it's been 9 months. A lot's happened in the last 9 months. Gargano says, yeah, I've changed a lot of diapers, and you've changed a lot. It's great to see you. And Theory's like, yeah, man, a lot has changed. I've become the youngest United States champion. I competed at WrestleMania already. And with Money in the Bank, I'm on my way to become an undisputed Universal Champion. It's almost like all the things you dreamed of, I've already done. He says, I can tell. He tells Johnny, he said, I couldn't have done any of it without you. He says, you took me under my wing in NXT. It's almost like now I'm the veteran and you're the rookie. Think about it. You could be my caboose. You can carry my bags. Actually, you can carry Money in the Bank and hand it to me when I cash in. He says, as good as that sounds, it seems like I can show you the way. He says, or if you don't want to support me like you did, maybe you can just go away. He says, but nobody wants to see that because they love us together. For old time's sakes, come on, let's do the high five, John. Let's do the high five. And so he does the no-look high five. He's like, come on, Johnny, hit me with it. Hit me with it, John. John's getting all revved up. Hit me with it. Hit me, Johnny. Hit me, Johnny. Johnny hits him with a super kick, lays him out, and then he leaves.
Yep.
I loved it. I thought it was great.
It was a great segment. Great promo from Gargano.
Yeah. So where do you see this going, man? Where's this going to go?
You mentioned it during our kickoff show, and I agree with it. This is a storyline here to flesh out Theory's character, and it's a good first feud to Gargano to walk out of on the winning side of. Mm-hmm, they'll put on some great matches. They can use their history together, and be a good launching pad for Gargano's main roster career. And then in the process of going through this feud, this is the feud that Theory needs to refocus himself and stop being on the short end of all these matches and all these attacks.
Mm-hmm,
be the person that brings the fight as opposed to the one that's taking the beating.
Yeah. Something to note here too. So, and because people in chat have noted this, and I think we brought up in the pre-show, but he was getting the "Who's Your Daddy" chants.
Yeah,
and to me, it seemed obvious that the crowd knew. The crowd understood of this relationship. They followed it. They knew what it was.
Yeah.
And it sort of puts to rest for me the old notion that continuity doesn't matter. that when Vince McMahon would bring people from NXT and all of a sudden they're a different person, behaving in a different way. Relationships back then aren't referenced on TV. Championships from NXT aren't referenced on main roster television. That, oh, well, less people watch NXT, therefore this is a new thing, and you know, the majority of people. That's bullshit. That's bullshit.
Yeah, it always was.
It was always bullshit. Continuity matters. When you expect people to tune into NXT, then you're buying into the universe. I mean, they love to use the term universe. They want to be Marvel.
Yeah.
At
They
least,
have no interest in any sort of interconnected universe.
right, exactly. And now we're going to get that, and you're going to see just how much more fulfilling story-wise that is, and it's great to see.
It is great to see. It is great to see. Also great to see this main event, Damian Priest. Against,
Your
you think you know
Judgment Day.
him. I think it was twice last night that Jimmy Smith called Edge the Edge.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Yeah. He
Missed
must
up-
be a U2 fan.
It must be. Yeah. His favorite
Anyways,
song
this
his favorite song's Lemon.
Oh, maybe. That's a good one. So this is all about, gave it a ton of time. I know that's a broken record phrase here at this juncture, but they under Triple H, the matches get time, and it's great to see.
And they got a Canadian Destroyer, too.
Yeah, Edge doing a Canadian Destroyer. Never thought that would happen.
And Corey Graves correctly pointed out the name of the Unprettier when Damian Priest hit Edge with his best friend.
Kill Switch is a better name, and that's what Christian
But it's
refers to
actually
it as.
called the Unprettier. That's
Well, I read a
originally
thing about
was, right.
yeah, but the original name came about because of a joke. If you read what Christian has to say about it.
Right. Yeah, the Unprettier.
Kill Switch. So anyways, yeah, Priest, they both hit each other's moves. Damian hitting Kill Switch.
Unprettier.
Edge hitting South Heaven choke slam.
yeah.
Priest puts Edge through the announce table with another Razor's Edge.
Oh my God, that was vicious.
That was. And down towards the finish. So Edge is looking for a sharpshooter. Priest boots him off, and when he boots Edge off, Edge goes into Little Nate, who is a referee for the bout. Little Nate then tumbles out of the ring to the floor. So Priest hits Edge with a choke slam, grabs a couple chairs. He wants to do a concerto. Edge evades that, rolls out of the ring, trips up Priest, and when he does that, Priest lands on one of the chairs that was in there. Edge stomps off a piece of chair. He puts Priest in the deal.
The deal. That was a deep deal too.
Yeah, it was. I love seeing the deal. So he lets go of it. He's looking for a spear. Problem was that when you let go of the deal, he left that piece of chair on the mat. So Priest grabs it.
Yeah.
And then as Edge runs for him for a spear, whack,
Whoop-ah.
whoop-ah. Priest hits him with it. And then Little Nate gets back in the ring, counts the pin, Edge kicks out. So Priest is looking for Razor's Edge. Edge escapes, hits the Canadian Destroyer,
Yeah, man.
follows with the spear for the win. So afterwards, Edge is about to hit a concerto on Priest. Rhea and Finn run out. Rhea low blows Edge. Finn follows with the coup de grace, picks up chair, and then Beth Phoenix, who was watching the match ringside, leaps barricade, grabs the chair from Finn. She gets the ring with chair. She's ready to fight.
Yeah, man.
She's ready to throw down right there, and Finn and Priest are kind of holding back Rhea.
Oh, they have to. They're not kind of.
Yeah.
They have to because
Yeah.
she is trying to get at Beth. Man, this was
Yeah.
such a phenomenal fucking finish to Raw. Man, I thought this was so fucking cool. Those women trying to throw at each other, and the dude's having to hold Rhea back because she's about to get massacred by Beth Phoenix. Man, so it seems like probably at Clash of the Castle we might get Edge and Beth versus Rhea and Finn, maybe, or at some point, anyways.
Yeah.
That's going to be a killer match. I love this segment. Have you noticed also that all the match finishes, man, they're all so well planned out. It's like the sequence, and I know like we see it elsewhere, but it's just crazy to see it on a consistent basis now in WWE. That whole bit with Priest trying for the concerto. No, he misses that because Edge rolls out. And then he grabs his feet. He lands on the chair that was there for the concerto. That kind of shit is stuff we didn't really see before.
No, not a whole lot. Not a whole lot. Good stuff. Good show.
Yeah, it was really good stuff. And that finish, I was geeked out when Rhea was just like, "Yeah, go ahead, I'll eat that chair."
Yeah,
I'll
that
eat
was
that
great.
chair to get to you. And the guys were like, "No, trying to bring her back." Rhea Ripley's on a roll these days. Like even Judgment Day, like they're slowly but surely getting them to the point where where they need to be, and Rhea's a huge part of that.
Absolutely.
Edge's you probably mentioned already, but I didn't. Edge's gear last night was fucking outstanding.
It was great. It was great.
Beautiful.
And after the show, Edge dropped a promo.
I didn't see that.
And he said, in a perfect world, next August when they're back in Toronto, would be his final match.
No.
That's what he said.
No, Edge.
That's what he said.
Well, yeah, he had said something in an interview, I think, recently. I don't know where I was reading this one, but he said when he retired, he felt he had about 3 years left.
Mm-hmm.
And so now he's thinking these 3 years are going to be it for him. Man, I mean, he's given it everything he has. That fucking Razor's Edge on the table. I was kind of surprised he took that. His neck was the thing, and that's where you're kind of, yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
He said from the beginning that kind of the reason he came back is because he wanted his career to end on his terms.
Mm-hmm, yeah. Yeah.
And if he feels like he gets an opportunity to work with the people he wants to work with, put on the matches he wants to put on, have the moments that he wants to have, and he feels like, all right, I can walk away now content with how my career has ended, then makes all the sense.
We got a couple questions here. patreon.com/Stephen Larson. Great way to support Going In Raw. We also offer up some bonus content, ad-free audio, and then more rewards there. Also, if you can't make the show live on the Twitch, you can ask your questions via the Patreon. First up, Blake Whitehouse says, which group has more heat? This nowadays is not even close. He says Judgment Day or Honor No More. Judgment Day.
It's Judgment Day now.
Judgment Day in my eyes have turned around quite a bit over the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, same.
David Matushek, do you think a possible DIY revival may be in the cards? A confrontation and a feud is definitely in the cards. That's happening.
Yeah, they'll get involved in some capacity. I don't know whether it's a reunion or a feud, but that's something that they can go back to whenever they want to.
And it's just there. They can get to it. They can get to it when they get to it.
Diehard Homer here says power rank top 5 people for Edge to face in the next year. He hasn't yet. Diehard Homer says top 2 for them is Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. I can't do better than that for top 2.
Yeah.
Who should be the person that Edge has his final match with?
Oh, man. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I could see like the name you just brought up, Kevin Owens. If Kevin Owens is a bad guy, and they have him be the guy, like a long ass like several pay-per-view final feud, maybe culminating at Mania. Kevin Owens is the guy to take out Edge. I don't know. That's sort of the name that comes to mind.
Yeah, I think that'd be great. We've seen Edge wear a Sami Zayn shirt a couple times going back to the NXT days.
Yeah.
So I think Sami Zayn is basically a must to have a feud with, at the least a feud.
Yeah, I agree. Nick Kyle says, this is a question my friend keeps on asking me. Why do wrestling matches have so many pinfall kickouts at 2 rather than 1 when you know they could kick out at 1? So
you get an extra second of rest.
In kayfabe, I think it could be a couple things. You get more rest, mind games. It's more frustrating, I think, maybe to get the person thinking, oh, I got this one. Nope.
It depends on the person, though, because if someone hits you with like a really nasty move and you kick out at 1, that's going to mess with that person's head.
Fuck with them also, yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And then, out of kayfabe, out of the universe, it's just more drama.
Although we all know the match probably is going to end unless it's a roll-up or a finisher,
Right, yeah. Let's see here. Cameron Bartolozzo, on a scale of 1 to 10, what are the chances we see The Miz tied up and held for ransom next week? I think he's out of it by next week. I think
trunk of the car.
You think he's going to be in the trunk? I think he's going to be out of it by next week. I think he's going to say some fucked up things happened.
Sort of like what happened to Theory when Loomis kidnapped him.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Although Theory said that they just sat around and watched TV and ate ice cream or something like that.
He ate, didn't he eat like a sugary cereal or something like that?
Yeah, that's what it was.
Let's see here. Gregory Mullen, what do you think the ceiling for Gargano is on main roster?
It's all about the creative, man. As we saw in NXT, he could be a championship contender.
I think there's a lot of Daniel Bryan in that guy.
Yep.
He
does the underdog thing very well.
I've always felt that Gargano can be, because he's a world-class wrestler. I think there's the potential there. If you really mind for it, you can be another Daniel Bryan, in which case it's world champion. Will he be that because there's so much great talent right now? Maybe not, but I think mid-card champion is definitely something that he can achieve.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Without a doubt.
Let's see here. Just mentioned that, actually. Shavon brought up the Daniel Bryan thing. Moses opposes, which rivalries would you like to see revisited under the control of Triple H? He brings up Styles versus Nakamura, which is a terrific shout.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
There was a stretch where AJ was just having kind of meh feuds. His feud with Kevin Owens was pretty meh.
I wonder how long Samoa Joe is signed with Ring of Honor, or AEW rather. Hopefully it's not a 5-year deal. Maybe it's like a 1-year deal. Where has he been recently? He just showed up for that one Ring of Honor show, and then that's it.
Yeah, no, I wonder. I would assume his obligations for that voiceover thing was complete.
I mean, how much time do you need in a sound booth?
Yeah, I don't know.
Let's see here. Xavier Gray, what was the point of WWE promoting Zoe Stark and Nikita Lyons in the tournament as a tag team if they weren't going to be physically active and physically cleared to compete in Canada? I suspect they were not aware of whatever was happening. I thought I read somewhere that Zoe had like a concussion issue stemming from her Heat Wave match, but I don't know that's the case. So, you know,
I read today that Gigi has a concussion because of the match last week.
Oh, okay. I mean, it's just with wrestling, same thing as always. You know, they can't predict. I think they aim for something and they can't predict that things are going to happen.
Exactly.
Let's see here.
Chill Gaming asks, when do you think Rhea is going to go for the women's title?
Dude, if she keeps up on her roll, they might pause this whole Bianca taking on all the horsewomen thing for Mania next year, and that might be a thing. Or they might do Rhea versus Bianca before then and have Bianca take it back. I don't know, but Rhea's on such a tear lately.
Yeah, she's been doing great work.
Maybe she'll win the Rumble and win it at Mania. I don't know. So Carl Reed has a question. He says, Vince got pops even while going through his investigation. Do you think that only applies for him, or do you think there is still a place in wrestling for formerly popular wrestlers? And he lists off some names. I'm just going to call them the canceled wrestlers that we all sort of know about. I think there's obviously kind of a big difference with Vince because he was in power and his transgressions were, I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, but I get that there's that Pavlovian response to Vince from the crowd, especially if like a large portion of the crowd isn't really keeping up with what's going on.
Yeah. I mean, also too with Vince is, despite his many faults, a lot of people credit him with creating this company that provided so much enjoyment and entertainment, many of them since childhood.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And so part of it is a Pavlovian thing. You hear that the beginning of No Chance, you get out of your seat.
Yeah.
Especially these days or in recent days when he wasn't on TV a whole lot.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I just think that the situation with Vince is a lot more complex in that regard than maybe some of the other names listed there.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Couldn't put it any better. Anyways, that's going to do it for us for now. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. If you are a patron at $5 and up, if you're a Twitch sub, if you're a YouTube channel member, at Steven Larson on the YouTube, we'll be doing a bonus episode today at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. It's our overrun / numbers don't lie extravaganza double feature.
Double feature, yes.
And today on the extravaganza double feature, we're going to be doing Lex Luger in Numbers Don't Lie. Yeah. And then on Overrun...
Do you do a tier ranking today?
Let's wait for next week. I want to get back to those. Let's wait for next week because I'll have my whole setup.
Well. That's right.
And I need to get that done.
Yeah.
No, I had another idea. It was, I don't know. It was like... I Oh, it was like going to be. I want to sort of re-examine who could take the titles off Roman.
Oh, okay. Power rank who could take titles off of Roman.
Right,
Gotcha.
exactly. We'll give our reasons for that. You guys can chime in as well if you want to hang out with us. 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you get that Twitch sub or become a patron at patreon.com/Steven Larson, $5 and up, or click that join button, youtube.com/Steven Larson. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and the notify bell. And, of course, if you're listening to this in the audio realm, leave us a rating, review, or a comment. All those 5-star ratings really, really do help us chart.
They do.
On the podcast charts. So,
Charts.
yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.